you can watch it even after the program. So I want to start by introducing and you, and that will be by introducing myself along the line, so that you know what we are here for and what we stand for. Then from there we can talk about how your child can excel in the 11 plus, the SAT exam, and the GCSE exam, as the case might be. So let's talk about TechLearn. I'm the founder of TechLearn, and TechLearn is a K-12 exam prep institute with the mission to make high-quality K-12 education accessible to every student through an engaging and flexible online platform. TechLearn is focused on helping year 5, year 6, year 10, and year 11 students, 9 to 11 students in the UK to excel in the 11 plus, the SAT, GCSE, and the A-level exams at one sitting and gain admission to grammar schools. But before TechLearn started, I'm still the CEO of Digital Consulting, and some of you watching me, you know that I've run Digital Consulting now for almost 7 years. Digital Consulting is a tech training institute that started in Nigeria, but now we operate in 4 continents: Europe, Africa, Middle East, and North America. And in the last 7 years, we have trained thousands, if not tens of thousands, of Africans and non-Africans. So that is what I've done before now. But before then, I worked at PricewaterhouseCoopers Nigeria, and I also worked at Oriental Energy Resources Limited in Nigeria. I'm a pastor. I'm currently the senior pastor of Household of King's Church, which is at Bega, Lagos, right? So just to share a few things before we go on, nothing so serious, because it's always good for you to know more about us and what we stand for. So I'll just do this in a jiffy. Do this straight away. Make this very fast so that we can move on. Right. So this is me. This is me right here. Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So I love to have fun. So I'm a tech trainer, and these are tech trainings that I've done, but now we're doing K-12 years. So that's that about me. So let's go to other members of the team, and so that you get to know them. Right. So we have Jennifer. She's member of the team. Then we have Afua. But for this particular session, we'll be having Afua with us tonight. Then on Monday, Lauren couldn't make tonight's meeting because she lost someone to her. So we had to reschedule her for Monday. But Afua will be with us tonight, and I will also be with you tonight to explain to you what we are really here to do. So Afua is a graduate of Manchester Metropolitan University. She's an international accredited tutor from the World TSOL Academy. She's an educational advisor. She's dedicated to empowering parents and guiding students through the challenges of GCSE and 11 plus exams. With 5 years in the education sector, Afua understands the intricacies of these pivotal assessments, and so she has been doing this for many years. Lauren is a school admissions consultant, the private tutor and secondary school admissions consultant with 12 years plus experience guiding parents and students through the 11 plus, 13 plus, ISEB, CAT4 exams for students entering top grammar and independent schools across the UK. She has notable success in helping students gain admissions to top UK schools like Abbey College, Paxton Grammar, Bonnemont for girls, Starbucks, Lewiston, Christ Hospital, Benendin, Upham, Branston. She's a parent and student advisor at Techland, where she guides both parents and students on how to excel in the 11 plus and 13 plus exams and gain admission to a grammar school. She has worked as a private tutor at Eric Learning, Atom Learning, Popsy Tutorial Academy, and as a training coordinator at IQ Bar Limited. And we have Sharon. Sharon has worked with students in the UK, in Canada. She currently works with TechLearn, collaborates with other educational institutes to provide high quality tutoring for students across the UK and Canada. She's an educational content creator at Kinyabi, iPrep UK, right? And she has been doing this for almost a decade now, right? So these are some of the members of our team, and this is what they have been doing, right? So that being said, let me get practical with us tonight, and let's go into why we are here. And you allow me to use a Microsoft doc, right? And this will go a long way. So this will make our work easier. Microsoft Doc will make our work much easier, right? So good, 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 good. Right. So okay. Now let me share my screen. Let me share my screen. So if you can see my screen, can I see your hand? If you can see my screen, can I see your hands? Okay, so I see people can see my screen. So if you are here tonight, you are here because of this program, How Your Child can Excel in How Your Child can Excel in the 11 plus SAT, or let me call it KS2 SAT and Gcse exams. And it means that you're in the UK, right? So the class is for people in the UK. So I want to start with the 11 plus exam. So let's go straight to the point before Aqua comes in. The 11 plus exams. So the 11 plus exams is taken in September. So, and it's taken by year 5 students, and it will take place September this year, September 20. Now, I want you to listen, even though it's taken by year 5 students, but in our program, we kept students in year 4 and year 5. Follow me? Now, so what happens is, for students in year 4, the classes will run from March to December this year. Then from January to September next year, right? Because they need this preparation. But for students who are already in year 5, they'll be taking the exam September 2025. So they have 7 months to prepare for this exam, right? Now, what exactly is this 11 plus exam? The 11 plus exam is mathematics, English, verbal reasoning, and non-verbal reasoning. Now, this exam has a lot of differences to the UK curriculum. So a child might go to school from year 1 to year 5, and when they write this 11 plus exam, they struggle with the exam because there are quite a lot of differences between the 11 plus exam and the UK curriculum, right? A lot of difference. So this is very important. Now, the idea of the 11 plus exam is that you need 11 plus exam for the child to gain admission to a grammar school. So they take the exam in year 5 as they're going to year 6. All right. So students who are in year 6 cannot take the 11 plus exam. They can't take the 11 plus exam because, so if your child is already in year 6 right now, they can't take the 11 plus exam. So their best bet is to do well on the SAT exam so that at least they can still get admission to good schools, but not necessarily grammar schools. And there are still good schools, good public schools, right? But they might not just be grammar schools. So what's this thing about grammar school? Number one is grammar schools have high quality education. I think high quality education is an understatement. I think they have the highest quality of education. Highest quality of education obtainable in the United Kingdom. That's, it's not an understatement. You can do research on that. So that's number one. Number two, when a child gets admission into a grammar school, they have improved university and career prospects. Let me try to explain this. The chances that a child will get admission an Oxford, a Cambridge, from a grammar school is way higher than from a community school. Alpha will come and she will shed more light on this. So maybe I shouldn't really talk so much about that. But because in a grammar school, they meet other very bright students from wonderful backgrounds, and the prospects are way higher because from that year 7 in a grammar school, the exposure is different. So getting an admission to a grammar school actually sets the child up for life. So that exam that is taken in their year 5 going to year 6 sets that child up for life. So because if they go to the right secondary school, the chances are almost 100% that they go to the right university. So number 3, they usually have smaller sizes and more resources, right? They have smaller class sizes, more resources, because the grammar school, it's not community school. It's not everybody. It's not a school where everybody goes to. They believe the students in a grammar school are the best and the brightest. So that is how they perceive them. That is how they respond to them. And that is how, everything just works along that line. And they also have a lot of extracurricular activities. A lot of them. Now, number 5, which is even the most important thing, is that they are free. Free quality. I have a friend of mine whose child attends a very good school and in the UK, and he told me that he spends £12,000 annum for a private secondary education for his child. He's a friend of mine in the UK. I mean, £12,000 per annum for private secondary education. £12,000 per annum. So, which means that in 6 years, he would have spent £60,000. But what if I told you that a child who attends a grammar school will get even a higher quality of education and will not spend a dime? Because grammar schools are free, but they have the highest level of education, because the whole idea of a grammar school is that they want the best and brightest in that school, and they don't have to pay anything. So the government is investing into the best and the brightest. So this is all about the 11 plus. So this is what makes the 11 plus exam such a big deal. Because if a child can get excellent scores on that 11 plus exams, well, it's like they are set for life, right? They are set for life, right? So that is very, very important. Now, let's talk about the SAT exams. Of course, after we still talk more about the SAT exams. I call it the KS2 SAT exams. For the KS2 SAT exams, they are written by year 6 students, of course. And even though they've either gotten the 11 plus exams right, or maybe they've not gotten it right, it doesn't mean that they shouldn't take the SAT exam seriously, right? Because if they get good scores on the SAT exams, it will also go a long way in getting good schools. The schools might not be like the grammar schools, but aside from the grammar schools, there are still other good schools that also offer very good level of education. And getting good SAT scores will also help. So I always tell people that if your child is in year 4 or year 5, bring them to TechLearn. Right. So what we do is that okay, I think I'll talk more about that. What we do is that we put them, if they're in year 4, we put them in year 4, because we know that, okay, we're going to train them from March to December, then from January to September next year. If you're in year 5 right now, then they're on an accelerated path because they're in year 5. So it's an accelerated program, because we know that, okay, we have 7 months with these children and we have to put in a lot. Right. So I will still talk more about that. So, but let's just talk about the KS2 exam. So KS2 exams, scores are still important. There is nowhere where bad scores is an advantage, right? Scores are still important. There are still very, very good schools that they can get admission to. So the KS2 SAT exams is written in May. So May 2025. So we have 3 months of exam prep. That now, and it's just for year 6 students. Then we talk about the GCSE exams. The GCSE exams is written in June 2025. Now for the GCSE, it applies to year 9, year 10, and of course year 11, right? So because the GCSE exam is also a very, very important exam. The GCSE exam is a very, very important exam. Do you know that in the UK, people who have gone to school, gone to universities, applied for jobs, they have been surprised that in getting some jobs, their GCSE scores still came to play, was still called to question. I mean, I did my GCSE when I was in my year 11. Then I went to university. I graduated out of university. Then I got a job. Then then next thing is I'm submitting my GCSE scores. And my GCSE scores is a factor that is being considered in getting a job. So GCSE scores are very, very important. It's not just about, they are very important in getting admissions, but even life after school still play a role, a vital role, even life after university. So that is the GCSE. Now for the GCSE, it's June, but like I said, it is taken in June of year 11. June of year 11. So what that means is that if your child is in year 11 right now, they just have 4 months to prepare, right? 4 months to prepare. But if they're in year 10, they're in year 9, year 10. So what we do for them, because that exam is very important. So what we do for them is we'll train them from March to December. December 2025, right? Whether they're in year 9 or year 10. So if they're in year 9, they're in the same class. If they're year 10, we put them in the same class, because those who are in year 9, they are still coming back next year, right? They still do the entire year 10 curriculum next year. Then in their year 11, they go for the exam. But if they are in year 10, we know that, okay, we just have this year with them and next year with them. So we put people in the same year, in the same class. And that also determines the curriculum they follow, right? So this is very important. So these exams, they go a long way in the future of a child. They go a long way. The 11 plus exams, the SAT exams. The SAT exam should not be taken for granted, because it also determines the kind of school. A child who is already in year 6, who has not written the 11 plus, or who has not passed it, might not be able to get into a grammar school. The chances are almost impossible. But there are still many quality schools, many good schools that this child can get into. So the SAT scores are still important. The GCSE scores are, I would say, too important. Too important. So having said all this, how do we come in as an organization? How do we come in? So here's how we come in. So first of all, if your child is writing, I will start with the 11 plus exam. If your child is writing the 11 plus exams, so here's how it works. So classes takes place Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. Now, for those who are very close to the exams, there have been times that we have extra classes at no cost, or at no extra cost. They are extra classes, but at no additional cost, right? So Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, this is the curriculum. And so we have classes from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. UK time. And these classes will go on from March to September 2025. That is 7 months. When the brochure is shared on the group, you see more on that. That's 7 months. Now, it doesn't stop there. From October to December 2025, classes continue. What's the class that will continue? Year 6 classes. So even though they've written the 11 plus by September, from October, we continue classes with them. So they are moving into year 6, so their classes just continue. So that is how we run the program. Because when you are training children, there must be no dull moment. Like they are so young, so their brain must be active. They must be learning, because they are young people. So young people are meant to learn. So technically, 11 plus exams for year 5 or year 4. So if they're in year 4, what that means is that they just take from March to December, because they are not writing the exam now. Like I said, if they're in year 4 right now, they'll be writing the exam next year, September next year. But this exam, it's not an exam that all the students that take the exam passes. Not everybody passes the exam. So it requires intense preparation. If they're year 5, they're on the accelerated route. And they will most likely be having extra classes, right? So now it doesn't end there. So technically it's 10 months. Whether they're in year 4 or they're in year 5, 10 months of tutoring for this year. Now, another thing about this program is that they have monthly mock tests. Whether they're in year 4 or they're in year 5, they have monthly mock test. So our prior cohort, right, that's what they've been doing. They've been having tests every month. So they write the monthly test, we get the report, we send it to the parents. The parents see, oh, this is the score of my. Then from periodically, we also generate a report that shows the performance of the child during the classes. Very important. Now, beyond all this is actually something very important. So, periodically, at times is once in a month, at times once in 2 months, we have what we call career advisory sessions. This for everything for 11 plus, for KS2, SAT, for Gcse. So this is actually for parents. And the idea of the career advisory session is so that parents know how to go about this. Passing the exams is one thing. What about the school search? How do you look for the right schools? How do you apply for the right schools for your children? It's a whole syllabus on its own. Getting the right school, preparing your child for the interview, all these things. It's a field on its own. So there have been situations of a child who has a very good score on the SAT, on the Gcse, on the 11 plus, but because the parents were not that knowledgeable or they were not informed, they still didn't get an admission to a good school, a good grammar school, an high quality school, or a good university. So passing the exams is important. Nobody said it's not important, but there's also something about information and guidance. That is why we have our career advisors, Lauren, Afua, and the rest of them. And they have these career advisory sessions. At times it's every month, at times it's once in 2 months, but the list is once in 2 months. Most times is once in a month. So that as the children, the pupils, as they are preparing for the exams, the parent is also arming themselves with relevant knowledge, relevant information, right, to navigate this terrain. To navigate this terrain. So this is very, very important. Very, very important. So these are facts, right? Now let's go to, I think I've covered the things I need to cover here. So we have monthly mock tests, we send student reports, there's career advisory sessions, and there is extra classes for those who are on the accelerated part. Accelerated part means they are writing that exam this year. So these are for people in year 5, though they will likely have extra classes, right? Along the way, people who are in year 6 who are writing the exam this year, extra classes. For those who are in year 11 or year 10, they are writing the Gcse this year or next year. So this is done, right, to ensure that they are well prepared for the exam. To ensure that they are well prepared for the exam. Now, that being said, let's go to SAT. Let's go to SAT, right? So, like I said, if your child is in year 4, your child is in year 5, 11 plus exam is the way to go, right? So just go for the 11 plus exam, and that is all you need. That is all you need, right? So now another thing I need to say here, okay, maybe I'll say that later. Okay, so let's just continue. If you are with me, if you are getting value, can I see your hands? If this is making a lot of sense. If it is not, maybe I should just be going, right? Okay, some people raise their hands. Okay, if you're really getting value from what I'm saying, can you raise your hands? Okay, more people have raised their hand, so I think I'm passing knowledge to you. Now the next thing is, let's look at the KS2 exams. I've said that many times, but forgive me for repetition. If your child has missed the 11 plus exam, all hope is not lost. It doesn't mean that, oh, well, since they've missed the 11 plus exam, let's just forget about it. But listen. One of the reasons why I'm very passionate about TechLearn, you can check me online, you can check Digital Consulting online, right? We've been around now for a very long time, and we have thousands of students in the UK, right? But one of the things that makes me so passionate about TechLearn, while despite all we have done in Digital Consulting, we are still going all the way for TechLearn, is because what we are doing is that we are creating the future, a very good future for these children. A very good future for these children. So let me just say this. You see, if your child doesn't do so well on the SAT scores and they end up in a community school, right? And some of these schools, there are schools that is just for like everybody, people are disadvantaged because people can spend a lot of money, will send their children to schools where they can pay £20,000 per annum, £25,000 per annum, and they'll get the best level of education. But people whose child don't do so well on the SAT exams and who also don't have so much money, the children might end up going to schools where the standard of education is not as high as other schools, where they don't have the best teachers. And that sort of begins to affect that child's career, even from the secondary school. So if your child does well on the SAT exams, they can still get admissions to good schools with good, high quality of education. So these things are very important. The exams and the career advisories, these things are important because the life of the child is being modeled right from now by the choice of the school they go to and what they eventually become. So that is why I'm so passionate about this. So for the SAT, now, the SAT is in May. It's in May this year. So May 2025. And if you are not in year 6, you can't write. So it's strictly for year 6 students. Right? And as you know, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. That's the time of the classes for the SAT. 7 p.m., 8 p.m. UK time. Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. There might be extra classes. There will most likely be extra classes just to ensure that they do well. But here's the thing. There will be extra class because it's May. But here's the thing. Immediately they are done with the SAT because they have like 3 months, which is March, April, May. But immediately they are done with the SAT, they start the year 7. They start the year 7 classes immediately. They've done their SAT. Why? Because when a child is well taught, it gives them a very strong starting point. So because you see, all these things compound. When the child starts their year 7 on a good note, it will eventually affect their GCSE in the long run. So we don't say, oh, they've written their SAT exams, that's fine. Let them just go and sleep. No, that's not education. These kids are young. How many of you agree with me that kids there shouldn't be a time in their life that they are not learning? If you agree with me, I want to know that, whether I'm not speaking Greek or I'm just the only one thinking like that. Like, if you agree with me that kids shouldn't have a long stretch that they are not really engaging in academic exercise and learning, can I just see your hands? Just to be sure I'm talking to the right set of people, right? Okay, so it's very important, right? Because if they lose touch with learning, it sort of affects them. Now, so that's year 7. So meaning the KS2 SAT is actually for 10 months. So all these programs are 10 months. So there is no dull moment. There's no silence. There's no learning gap. There's no learning gap. They are just learning. And they are learning because they are young. So that is for the KS2 SAT. Then the Gcse is the same thing, right? It's a 10 months program. So whether they're in year 9 or year 10 or year 11, the only thing that for those who are in year 11, well, because they've already written the Gcse, the remaining months, then they can just start to prepare them for A levels. So if they are writing A levels, then so the remaining months, they are just prepping for their A levels. So all these programs are 10 months programs from March to December this year. Now, let's talk about pricing. But before we talk about pricing of these programs, and before I bring Afua in to also share some perspective on this, there's a question that comes to mind that, okay, so we understand how you've broken all these things down to us. The advantage of 11 plus, advantage of getting good scores on the SAT, advantage of getting good scores on the GCSE exam. You've also said that Alpha is here with us tonight. Then Lauren had an emergency, and so she'll be here with us on Monday evening, same time, just to share more perspective on this. So, sir, question is, why should I go for you? Right? Why should I go for you? Right? Instead of other institutes. There are many other institutes out there. So there are many reasons actually, and we have a good product here. Number one is that we are very passionate about what we do. We do it with our heart. We take these children like our children. Let me try to send, I want to check report, if I can find that report, if it's on this laptop. Hopefully I can find it. Hopefully. If I cannot, then I just want to show you how detailed we are in explain. Like so, for us, it's about trying to achieve an objective, right? And our objective is to ensure that these kids have the best tutoring and coaching possible, and that they can get into the best schools possible. That's the end goal. They can get into the best grammar schools, the best secondary schools, the best universities, then our job is done. So our job is not done when they get good scores, right? Our job is done when they actually achieve that objective. When they achieve the objective. So let me see if I can get this. Okay. Let's see if I can pull it out. And if not, okay. No, no. You know, it's not it. Well, if I can find it before we finish this session, if I can. Well, we always send out a report to the parents on the progress of their child. I think it's on the other system. Okay. So I think that shouldn't take our time. Let me just continue what I'm doing. Maybe when Afua is talking, I'll look for it. Yeah, I'll look for it when Afua is talking, and I'll try to get my other system and share with you. So you have an idea of how our program runs, right? So back to my slide. So 7 p.m. 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. Now, so I was saying, why should you choose us? because we are very passionate about what we do, but not just that. Number two is because we are very detailed and very thorough. Very detailed and very thorough. Like I said, the classes are usually 4 hours a week, and there are monthly mock tests. Reports are sent to parents periodically to let them understand the progress their child is making, right? But aside that, if need be, there'll be extra classes to ensure that the children are getting closer to their objective, if need be. So, because we are very detailed and very thorough, So for us, it's not just about, oh, we just do our job. No. Very detailed and very thorough. Number two is that we have tutors and most especially career advisors who are very experienced. They have been teaching this for 7 years, for 8 years, over a decade, over 12 years, right? And one of the most important thing about our program is the career advisory part of it, where apart from the children or the pupils, as the case might be, learning, the parents are also learning, because the parents will guide. They are the decision makers here. They don't write the exam, but they are the decision makers. So these career advisors will guide the parents on how to go about these things. Like I said earlier, and permit me to repeat, is that there have been situations of children who got good scores on the Gcse, on the SAT, on the 11 plus, but still didn't get an admission to the school of their choice. Because good scores are wonderful, they are very important, but they are not the only thing in this journey. There is still some tips here and there, knowledge that comes from experience. Right? So we are not just focused on, oh, the child has passed the exam. It's more than that. We also focus on the admission guidance, the admission consulting, right? Then I've also mentioned the monthly mock test. So when the students get into the exam, it's not looking strange, because every month they've been writing exams every month. They take monthly mock tests every month, which actually simulates the real exam environment, right? So, but I would also now say that the part that is maybe not the most important, but also very important, is that our prices are cheap. Even though the value of what we offer, it's very expensive, but our prices are cheap. And I've seen people who, when they saw the ad, they complained that why is it for Africans? I wrote Ghanaians, Kenyans, Rwandans, African, Ghanaian. Why is it for Africa? Well, because it's just our passion. Now, if you got into this webinar and you are not an African, not a problem. Since you are here, since you're already on the group, well, you are welcome. But our focus mainly is on Africans. Of course, we have children that are not African in our program, because one way or the other, the parent got into the program and we can't turn anybody back. But we just want a program that is affordable for Africans, right? Because if we have African children in the UK, we want them to do well. We want them to get into grammar schools. We want them to get into good secondary schools. We want them to get into universities, good universities. So it's just a passion that drives us. So because of that passion, our prices are very, very modest. And you can do your research. I've seen situations where someone has actually reached out to us and was worried that with the kind of prices you are charging for this thing, hope my child will get the best level of education. And I said, don't worry. It's not about how expensive it is. It's just about the value, right? So, like I said, I've run a tech training institute for almost 7 years now. In the UK that you are all in, I have thousands of students in the UK as I speak, right? So, but tech learning is just born out of a passion now to, to get this right, to coach the students, right? And we just always ensure that we don't run at a loss so that we can keep impacting a lot of lives. So, if you check around, there are institutes that charge 20 pounds to 40 pounds per hour for 11 plus and essay tutorials. Don't take my word for it. We can even check, right? Even check. Let me do a Google search for you. Just take my word for it. But I want to show you the value of what we are offering, because at times, if you don't tell people, they will just say, "Oh, you are just you're just talking." So, how much does a tutor charge? Oh, for 11 plus exam in the UK. Okay. So don't just take my word for it. Don't just take my word for it. So you can see here, 41 pounds per hour. That's the average. So for 11 plus, let me change you to KS2 SAT. That's like 15 pounds per hour, right? So let me change you to Gcse. That's like 25 pounds to 67 pounds per hour, right? So don't take my word for it. So for us, how have we been able to make it very cheap? It's because we trained our tutors, right? So we trained our tutors in order to train the students. So our tutors were trained by us. So they have been trained for a very long time on how to train, right? So our tutors have been people who have been tutoring for years, right? But they were now also trained specially to tutor students for these exams. Because the fact that you have been tutoring for many years, for year 1 to year 6, year 7 to year 12, does not mean you can train on how to pass these exams. Right? So there's a training. The training is different from tutoring. There's how a tutor can tutor. So teach the teacher, right? So because of this, we are able to subsidize the cost, right? We're able to subsidize the cost, right? And so for us, your child is writing the 11 plus exam, your child is just paying 325 pounds for 11 months of coaching. Sorry, 10 months. 10 months. And that's like, in a month, they are doing like 16 hours in a month minimum, because they do 4 hours a week. And in 10 months, they're already doing 160 hours. So do the math. Do the math, right? And if they are doing the, if your child is doing the KS2 SAT exam, it is 285 British pounds. If your child is doing the Gcse exams, it's 285 British pounds. And all these are 10 months of classes, high quality, with monthly mock test, performance reports, career coaching, and a host of other things based on the right curriculum for the program. So we have been able to subsidize it. And that's like one very important thing about our training, that it is cost friendly. It is cost friendly, right? So that being said, before I bring in Afua, classes starts not next week, Monday, Upper Monday, right? And this is a one-time payment. Classes starts upper Monday, which is March 17, right? And registration closes next week Saturday, which is registration closes next week Saturday, which is March 15. Right? So on Monday, we have another session with Lauren, where you can ask a lot of questions. But tonight we are with Afua, and Afua would course through both 11 plus SAT and GCSE, and we just rub minds together. Right? So at this point, I'll bring Afua on board. Right. Afua is here with me right here. So Afua, you are welcome to tonight's session. You are welcome. You are welcome. Okay, I think I need to make you the host so that we can share your screen with us, and we can also get to see your face. Can get to see your face. Hello, Afua. Yeah.
Hi, Pastor Yomi. Sorry.
Yeah.
Hi,
Good
everyone.
evening. Yeah. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Fine, fine, fine. So I think you are ready for us with your slide. Yeah.
Yes,
So
please.
at this point, I'm handing over to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the this awareness course on 11 plus exams, as well as 13 plus and GCSE. My name is Afua, and it's very nice to be here. I'm very happy to be here. I'll just start by sharing my screen and we'll get started. So, yeah, so my name is Afua, and I'm a qualified secondary maths teacher with about 5 years of teaching experience at secondary school level. And I also have experience teaching primary part-time. I've taught students privately online and have experience and resources for students at Key Stage 2, Key Stage 3, as well as Key Stage 4 level. And yeah, I hope this is an insightful and informative session for you. And if there's any questions you would like to know, please feel free to ask questions. But hopefully as the session goes on, most of the questions you probably have will be answered. And I think Pastor Yomi did a really amazing job explaining a lot of the things already. So I'll just probably add a bit to that, whatever I have. Okay, so what exactly is an 11 plus exam? So the 11 plus exam is an entrance exam used in the UK for students around ages 10 to 11, and it's typically taken in the last year of primary school. So when they get to year 6, they take it usually at the beginning or middle of, not beginning, middle of September to the end of September, they take this exam, and it helps determine admission to selective secondary schools, especially or particularly grammar schools. The exam assesses a range of subjects, including English, maths, verbal reasoning, and non-verbal reasoning as well. And then we also have the 13 plus exam, which is typically and also an entrance exam, and it's taken much later, well, around year 9 when the student is already in secondary school. It's often used by independent schools in the UK, and it serves as a way to assess a student's academic abilities as well. It covers subjects such as English, math, science, and sometimes languages or humanities, depending on the school's requirement. And there are different types of 13 plus exams, including those set by individual schools or standardized tests, like the common entrance examination. Sometimes what happens is these private schools sometimes offer scholarships to students. So it's also a really good way for them to access these independent schools, but they are quite rare. And the chances of the school in your catchment area being able to offer that is also quite rare, but it's more likely for your child to get into a grammar school from the ages of 9, 10, if they start preparing early, which is one of the offers and what one of the things we have to offer here with Tech Learn. Okay. I saw this newspaper article and I thought it would be interesting to put in this PowerPoint, but it was basically talking about how the privately educated still dominate professions. And there was basically some research done by Sutton Trust. And it says leading British actors are more than twice as likely as stars in the music industry to have attended fee-paying schools. It also says professions like politics and the law continue to be dominated by privately educated Oxbridge graduates. The trust said a child's chances of reaching the top still came down to their schooling and contacts. Um, Researchers for the trust, which campaigns for greater social mobility, looked at the educational backgrounds of more than 1,200 people working in high positions in medicine, law, military, journalism, politics, civil service, business, film, and pop music. They also looked at Nobel Prize winners. And the report found that more than 2 in 5 of British BAFTA winners went to a private school, compared with around a fifth of those who've been awarded a Brit Music Award. So basically, within the movie society of Britain, about 42% of the winners of the awards went to a private school. And you'll sometimes find that these actors and these musicians, they tend to know each other from a young age because of the kind of circle that they walk in, or they associate with from a young age, actually. It also found that three-quarters, so 74% of the UK's top judges went to a fee-paying school, and nearly 8 in 10 went on to Oxford or Cambridge University. Among top military personnel, some 7 in 10 were educated in the private sector. Slightly more than half of leading print journalists and solicitors attended fee-paying schools, and just over half of these journalists attended Oxford or Cambridge, along with 55% of solicitors and 51% of the senior civil servants. In politics, half the cabinet were privately educated, compared with 13% of the shadow cabinet and around a third of MPs. And it says just under half of the current cabinet are Oxbridge graduates, along with 32% of the shadow cabinet. It says the trust said that the country's top doctors, 61%, were educated at independent schools, nearly one quarter at grammar schools, and the remainder at comprehensive schools. The private school sector educates only 7% of the population. The top of many of the UK's most prestigious professions remain disproportionately constituted by those with elite educational and socioeconomic backgrounds. So all this is basically just to say that the kind of school your child goes to or you go to really makes a difference. Because 61% of the top doctors were privately, like they were educated in independent schools because they can afford it. And it tends to be that the students who, a lot of the people that become doctors, lawyers, and those professions, it's almost like it's almost like a generational thing. Maybe their parents were doctors, their grandparents were doctors, so they already have that foot in. So then you then trying to come in, it's more difficult. That's why only 16% of top doctors are actually educated in state schools, comprehensive schools. So the type of school your child goes to really does make a difference in all of these professions. The privately educated people, the ones who go to grammar schools, they are the ones dominating these professions, these lawyers, the doctors, the judges, the musicians, the actors, all even people in the military, because of the kind of circle and the kind of network and the kind of people that they meet and they're surrounded by. So it's really, really important. And it starts very early. Yeah. I mean, one prime example is one of my brothers, he's a doctor. And when he went to university, he said like literally everyone, almost everyone around him was like educated in a grammar school or a private school. Some of the students even wore like a suit to come for lectures because that's the kind of training they've had from a young age. A lot of them were also children of doctors and those kind of professions. I remember when I was studying my A levels, one of my classes, my maths class, a lot of the students within that maths class, they were children of other teachers. So it's like the ones that know the system, they really push for their children to benefit from the system, which is the amazing thing about TechLearn is that we have those people, we have the um educational specialists and the people that really know the system here to guide you and here to help you and help your child achieve the best they can and have the best opportunity at life once they are able to get through and pass their exams. Yeah. So it does really make a difference. So benefits of excellent scores in the 11 plus exam, obviously access to grammar schools. Within that comes enhanced educational opportunities. So not only do you get access to a really great school within the country, but another thing is it's also free and you get certain experiences you would never get to experience. Some of the educational opportunities are like you get to be in United Nations groups. You get to debate, you get to travel to different parts of the country and talk with different people in different parts of the country. You get to go to talks, you get to have meetings with world leaders, possibly. You get to travel to other countries like maybe Switzerland or France or Germany for some kind of educational opportunity. You might even get to play certain sports like lacrosse or rugby or something that isn't offered in many comprehensive schools around the UK. Your future academic success, because the class sizes are also smaller, the teacher has more time for each student. Um, they will be in touch with the parents as well, because in the comprehensive schools, at times the class sizes are like 30 students. Um, Recently I've been in a school where the class sizes go up to like 33. And it's like, this is ridiculous. So many students, like, how do you even like get to give everyone the kind of level of support that they need? How do you even get to know the students? But in a private school or in a grammar school, you'll have maybe class sizes of no more than 20, maybe 15, maybe 16, 17, 18, thereabouts, but no more than 20. Um, I went to uh, an independent school, so an international school in the Philippines. It was like a British international school, and the class sizes were no more than like 18. Like the students, literally, everyone had their own like space and table. They even had like an a tutor, like a maths tutor within the classes, also helping. So not only was there like their actual teacher, but like they had someone else to help just in case the students needed extra help. So those are some of the benefits that come future academic success. Again, once you're on that track, you're propelled, you're going to go to the best sixth form college, you're going to go to the best university, you're going to have the best chances at life, development of skills. A lot of these schools, they not only educate you in terms of the academics, but you get to have many other skills. You get to they train you, they have really they maybe even have athletes, professional athletes come to the school to talk to the students, get them to see what it's like to actually meet someone who is a great person and revered in society. Maybe they might even have a visit by a politician or someone like an actor. They have connections, you see, they have connections. So all of these things help develop your skills. They make you more confident. You'll have the opportunity to develop anything that you want to develop. You also have an increased confidence because you trust your teachers, you trust that you're getting the highest level of education. You have great standards. Yeah, that's another thing as well. A lot of young people, it seems like they don't really have any standards, but these type of schools, they instill in you a standard that makes you, very confident in yourself because you're very sure of yourself. And especially at such a young age, those age, like being a teenager, and there's so much around you, but a lot of students in grammar schools I've seen are very, very confident because they're very sure of themselves. They know they're there for a reason because they belong there and they embrace it as well. And then obviously the networking and social opportunities as well. The reasons why students don't tend to pass their 11 plus exam is insufficient preparation, which is why it's really, really important. I mean, I would say don't even leave it till year five, start year four if you can. Start preparing your child from very, very early on. So it's not too late by the time they come in. They're not even behind because there are people that are getting these kind of tuition. There's a company that I work for, and I know children as young as 6 years old are getting tuition. And for me, it's like, whoa, that young. But yeah, yeah, some parents are very, very like serious about their children and they're willing to shelf out the money to help their child have the best chances in life. So they will start as early as possible and they do. Even recently with what's seeing how what's his name, Tiger Woods, he's training his son to be also like to also become like professional golfer. A lot of these great, great people, they start training their children. I'm sure Cristiano Ronaldo is also training his son to also play football. So it's not even like you don't wait, you start as soon as you can. I know some people that are training their children, especially like recently, um, a lot of African parents are moving into sports. It used to be that all African parents wanted you to be a lawyer or a doctor, but no, some of them are training their children to also play football because there's also opportunities there. I have a friend who works in a grammar school in Manchester, and his grammar school actually is affiliated with Manchester City Stadium. So when they have the under 16s come in, do the training, they put them in that school. So you see the footballers despite their backgrounds or whatever, because they are talented in football, it's even given them opportunities to even attend these private schools. He actually doesn't work in a grammar school, it's actually a private school. So the football team is paying for their players to actually go to a private school, So it's like those things, they're preparing them, however way they're preparing them, to move into that sort of area as well. But yeah, yeah, mainly academic preparation is very, very important. Which is one of the things TechLearn we have here to offer. Lack of familiarity with the exam format. Again, this is the first time a lot of these children are doing a proper examination and an assessment. It will probably be their first real assessment. So it's important for them to be familiar with how the exam is presented, how the answers are supposed to be, how to even read the questions and understand what exactly they're asking you, not what you think they are asking you. Test anxiety as well. Again, preparation will help with that. And weak foundational skills. So we at TechLearn, the tutors and the um um yeah, we the tutors will help build those skills and form those skills and strengthen those skills as well. And poor time management, which obviously we have occasional practice mocks and papers that we do, and this will all come in hand to prepare students. So strategies for success, structured study plans, having a structured study plan, having enough practice. I know that the lessons are offered multiple times within the course of a week. So that will also help aid your child and help them be prepared. Again, they'll have familiarization with the exam format. Um, they'll have targeted skill development. Whatever their skills are lacking in, they'll have enough help with that. They'll be practicing how to write the exam under exam conditions. Obviously, we the tutors and educational advisors, as well as the parents, we're working together as a team, for the child. So encouraging a positive mindset, making sure the child is not feeling like they can't do anything, always pushing for the best, and always supporting them is really important as well. Giving regular feedback and assessment and engaging learning materials, that goes a long way as well. So just the admission, the application process, what is it? What is it like? So this is just a few things I've gathered from various sources. But think about the grammar schools you qualify for, and parents should ask schools if they're not entirely sure. It's important to fully understand what impact the individual catchment area of each school is. So usually if you're in the UK, you can just search for the school, or you can search for the schools around your area on the local council. So all you need to do is put your postcode in and you'll find the schools around or within your catchment area, and you can then be a bit more selective in that sense. In addition to your chosen grammar school, it's advisable to fully understand which comprehensive schools might provide another option. Um, at this point, also consider local independent schools. However, many have generous bursaries or scholarships. Yeah, that's true. But a lot of independent schools are also very, very expensive. Like Pastor Yomi said, um, they go for about 12,000 K a year, which is a lot of money. And I know this year, especially, with the introduction of VAT to the tuition fee, the the price of this tuition fees have gone up by 20%. A lot of people cannot afford that. So even getting into grammar schools has become more competitive because some people who can't afford independent schools are now trying to get into these grammar schools. So it's really, really important that you prepare your child in the best way possible. If you can also visit the school, visit. Many will allow you to visit even during term time or open days. And then also try not to be succumbed by the pressure of grammar schools, although it is quite a lot of pressure. Um, so the application and test process for the 11 plus test, you apply usually between June and mid-September. Um, then the test date, it varies, but it's normally in the second week in September. Results will come out in the middle of October. If registration was online, it will be emailed to you. And then common application form deadline is the end of October. You'll usually be allocated a place in the first week in March, and you have to accept the place by the third week in March as you're about to leave primary school. Yeah. Again, do a lot of research. Identify your local grammar schools, understand their admission criteria, which can vary by school. Um, Parents usually need to register their child for the entrance exam. So yeah, try to do this through the school's website or the local authority. And yeah. Oh yeah, there's also a chance to appeal if you don't get your child in. You can also appeal, and just keep calling, call the school, keep calling, see if they have any vacancies, especially if you're at that threshold where you almost got in, but you didn't really have enough to push through. Yeah, just keep calling. You never know. Um, so what you as parents need to know to ensure your child gets into the right school, know the local grammar schools in your area, be familiar with their admission policies as well as their reputations, understand the 11 plus format, which we at TechLearn will be here to help with. Be aware of deadlines. Yeah, it pays to be organized, I tell you. So yeah, try your best to be as organized as possible. Ask all the questions. Make sure you don't assume anything because you never know. Support your child's preparation, invest in resources such as TechLearn, such as books, practice papers, and obviously tutoring to help your child prepare effectively. Visit the schools, prepare for interviews if you must, and always have a backup plan as well. Yeah. And we at TechLearn expect for us to provide help in understanding the exam process, preparation strategies, emotional and mental support, progress monitoring, school selection guidance, obviously these question and answer sessions and networking opportunities as well. Yes. Okay. But thank you so much. That's all for the 11 plus. And I can see there are some questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so it says, what is the difference between the 11 plus and the Key Stage 2 SATs? Yeah, so the 11 plus exam is typically the exam you need to get into the grammar schools, but the Key Stage 2 SATs is done by every student in year six. So the SATs is a general national exam that's taken by everyone, but the 11 plus is specifically for grammar schools. Yeah. Are there free trial sessions to see how the pupils or students get on with?
I think I will answer that. So
Mhm.
what we always tell people, right, is that we don't do free trials, but if your child attends our program and he does 8 classes and you are not satisfied, we'll refund you your money 100% with apologies, right? So because we know what we are doing, like we are good at this thing. And since we've been saying this, we have never had any parent reach out to us and say, oh, I don't want my child to continue, right? They always want their children to continue. They always bring other people to us. So we don't want people who are, trying, I'm just trying to try. No, 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 no. But one thing is that if you register for the program and after 8 classes, you are not satisfied, we will refund you your money 100%, right? And we also apologize to you, right? So that's that. So over to you. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Well,
Mm.
I think the next one might be you as well. It says,
Okay, so sibling discounts, yes. If you are registering for two children, kids at the same time, just reach out to me. We'll see what we can do since they are all from the same parent. So we do that. Yeah. So over to you, Afo.
thank you. Thank you so much. So yeah, we're gonna talk about the um GCSE part now. Sorry, just give me a second. Okay. So what is the GCSE examination? So the GCSE examination it stands for General Certificate of Secondary Education, and it's a set of exams taken in the UK, typically by students around age 16, at the end of their secondary education. It generally covers a wide range of subjects, including English, math, science, and various humanities and arts, and the results are important for further education opportunities such as A levels or vocational training. The grading system ranges from grade 9 being the highest and grade 1 being the lowest, with a grade 4 considered as a standard pass. So typically, you need a 4, basically. Otherwise, when you then move on, the UK doesn't do the system of repeating You don't repeat. You just keep moving and moving and moving. But if you cannot get a grade 4, you're not going anywhere. You'll have to keep getting, you'll have, especially with these with these two subjects of English and maths. With those, obviously, if you cannot pass, you cannot do any job. I remember when I was applying for my jobs, and they didn't ask me for my A levels, they asked me for my GCSE grades. Can you imagine?
Mm.
So it was very shocking to me that um a whole job that I'm about to do, you really need my GCSE. You don't even want to see my A levels. You want to see my GCSE grades. So it's very, very important that the child passes, not just passes, but does more than pass, like excels within their GCSE, because I think it's a very important stage in life. And it then goes to show the kind of potential the person has for them to be able to excel at that level. Because at that time I tend to forget, but seeing students go through their GCSE, you can tell that it's a very, very intense time for them. Not only are they just trying to remember everything, but there's so many subjects to actually remember and understand, and within such a short period as well. It's very, very stressful for them. So I think there's a reason why the GCSE has such a high value um in terms of like just careers and the work in general. Students in the UK typically choose their GCSE subjects in year 9 around the age of 13 or 14. This process usually occurs in the spring term, although they are prepared and informed on what their options are from the parents' evening at the beginning of the academic year, with students selecting a combination of core subjects like English, maths, and science, with optional subjects that interest them. So actually, you don't have a choice. You have to do English, maths, and science. You don't have a choice with that. Those are compulsory. Everyone is doing them. However, there are other subjects that you can opt to do when you're in year 9. When you get to year 10, that's when the GCSE curriculum starts. Um, and you start to prepare for those. So the choices they make will affect their education and career path. So it's important for them to consider their interests and future goals during this time. Usually the options are chosen by students alongside their parents, which is why it's important for parents to attend the parent evening to gain knowledge of the child's performance in their preferred subject with their teachers. So yeah, it will come when the child gets to year 9. There will be a parent evening organized by the school where the parent will come in and the teachers will explain everything about the options and everything. So hopefully, as the parent has a lot of questions to ask, they'll also find out how the child is doing in school and whether, based on the teacher's expertise or experience, whether the child is something like somewhat likely to do well in this particular subject or that particular subject, and so on and so forth. So what are some of the exam boards? So typically, schools have their own exam boards that they use for different subjects. So we've got AQA, OCR, EdExcel, WJEC, and CIE, which are all exam boards that offer services in various subjects. So some schools they might write their English GCSE with AQA, they'll write maths EdExcel, and they'll write science OCR. I think I did science OCR, English AQA, and maths AQA when I was in high school. But yeah, different schools have different exam boards, but they tend to all have a general um they'll be examining the same things. Yeah, just the way the questions are presented or the way their style is, the way they write their questions that may be slightly different. Yeah. Okay. So what are the options available at GCSE levels? So the core subjects obviously are English language and literature, mathematics, and science. So this can be combined science or separate science. Usually everyone has to do combined science, which typically gives you two GCSEs in science. But if you want to do the triple science is what they call it, where you get a GCSE in biology or GCSE in chemistry or physics. So that's more, you're learning the same things you're learning in like the combined science, but it's more detailed because you get a GCSE for each individual science branch. Yeah. And I think English language is one GCSE as well, and English literature is another one, and maths is also double weighted. So whatever you get is like in maths, you get, I think you get, no, you just get one GCSE actually. Just get one GCSE. Okay. What are the options available at GCSE level? So these are the optional subjects the child can take on top of the compulsory ones, the core subjects. They can choose a humanities, and some schools now tend to make you choose a humanity and make you choose a language because they believe that it makes you more well-rounded. So you either have to choose between history, geography, or religious studies. You have to choose one of them. Or you can choose a language, so French, Spanish, German. Or if you are like a native speaker, some schools also offer the option of getting a GCSE in the language that you already speak. So one of the schools I worked in, um, some of the students were like European. So a lot of them spoke Spanish, Italian. So although the school didn't offer those subjects, because they spoke and they could write in those languages, the school opted for them to get an extra GCSE in those chosen subjects. So some of the GCSEs available are like Mandarin, Italian, um, Urdu, Arabic, um, and all sorts. Yeah. So German. So if the child can speak a different language and they can earn a GCSE, why not just get an extra qualification? Yeah. The other one is the arts. So you've got art and design, music, drama. You've got technology and vocational subjects such as design and technology, computer science, food technology, business studies, and you've got PE, physical education as well. Yeah. Some schools may offer things like psychology and sociology, but not many schools offer those subjects. So, yeah, but they could also offer those subjects as well. So aside from GCSE qualifications, there's also BTECs available. And what are BTECs? So BTECs are vocational qualifications that provide practical hands-on learning in various subjects. They're designed to prepare students for further education, training, or employment. And BTECs are available at different levels, including level 1, level 2, and level 3, with level 3 being equivalent to A levels. So level 2 is what you get in high school, essentially. And the key features of BTECs is that it focuses on practical skills. So a lot of students don't really test well. They don't really do well when it comes to exams. So when it happens like that, they tend to be pushed in the direction of doing a BTEC. But some people also see BTECs as like a poor man's GCSE, but it's really not. It's just a different way of gaining qualifications. Um yeah, so BTECs emphasize real-world skills and knowledge relevant to specific industries, making them popular among students who prefer practical learning over traditional academic exams. It's offered in a wide range of fields such as business, health and social care, art and design, IT, sports, engineering. The assessment is a combination of coursework, projects, and exams, which can vary depending on the specific qualification and subject. So, yeah, it tends to be a lot of coursework based. So, it's like the student gets an opportunity to draft their coursework, take it to the teacher will assess it, maybe give them some like notes, and then they'll go and redraft it and redraft it and redraft it, and they keep redrafting it till it's basically exactly how they need it to be in order for them to achieve their highest grade. So it's also very supported. Yeah. BTECs can often be taken alongside GCSEs and other qualifications, providing a balanced educational pathway. And the progression is that many, it can lead to further education, such as university courses, apprenticeships, or many institutions recognize BTECs as valid qualifications for entry. For example, if you go to any university website and you try to ask them for their course requirement, entry requirements, they will give you like BTEC. So with the BTEC, you can only get 4 grades. You can get a pass, a merit, a distinction, or a distinction star. So distinction star is like the top, basically. And sometimes if you get a distinction star, that's equivalent to like A star, A star, A star, or well, grade nines, basically. So it's very appealing to some students that don't really test well with like traditional academic exams. They don't really do so well in it. They might be more um successful doing a BTEC. And it's appealing to students looking for practical approaches to learning and those who want to enter specific career paths directly after secondary education. The thing with the BTEC is that once you do it, you're doing basically one course for the entirety of your time. Um, Especially when you get to your A levels or your life after GCSE. When you're in college and or in your sixth form and you're doing your BTEC course, that's basically all you're doing. I had a friend um who was doing computer science, and he did that for 2 years. The whole time he didn't do any other subject. Whereas because I was doing A levels, I did like 4 different subjects. So if you then decide that you want to do, sorry, if you then decide that you want to do a BTEC and you start doing a BTEC, if you decide you want to change, you have to basically go back to level one. And level one and level two is
I think
basically,
your voice went down. Yeah,
sorry.
your voice went down.
Yeah, did it?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry about that.
yeah, okay,
Sorry.
yeah,
But yeah, if
yeah.
you decide that you want to change your course, you have to start from level one, which is basically GCSE level, with the BTEC course. So it's it's very important that you're very sure about what you want to do, whether you're doing GCSE BTEC, sorry, in engineering, you have to do it all the way. If you're doing BTEC in health and social care, you have to do it all the way. If you're doing it in sports, it has to be all the way. So it's very heavy as well in terms of like because you have to have that decision already made up. Yeah. So GCSEs and IGCSEs. The main differences between IGCSE, which is the International General Certificate of Secondary Education, and GCSE is the recognition that IGCSE is recognized internationally, making it suitable for students in various subjects, various countries, while GCSE is more UK focused. You also have a different curriculum and assessment. IGCSE often offers more flexibility in subjects and assessment methods, such as allowing for coursework or alternative assessments, whereas GCSEs typically have more standardized assessment criteria. So, for example, the IGCSE can be, if you're doing English, for example, or English literature, the literature can come from um Saudi Arabia, or it can come from Mexico, it can come from Colombia, like it can come
Mm.
from anywhere because it's international basically. Whereas GCSEs are very much UK based. Yeah. So grading, both qualifications have similar grading systems, but the IGCSE is sometimes seen as more rigorous depending on the subject and exam board. Especially because usually schools that do IGCSEs are international schools abroad, and they're a type of independent school as well, like they're a type of private school. So the level of education and the standard of education is much higher than maybe the general GCSE that everyone in the UK does take. Also, language, the IGCSE may be offered in English as a second language. So for example, in a country like France, um, you can opt to do your GCSEs in French. The papers will all be in French just because you are a native French speaker. So English is like a second language that you can have if you want, um, making it accessible for non-native speakers, whereas GCSE is primarily designed for students in the UK. I think recently there's been some talks of trying to make the GCSE kind of accessible to non-native speakers, since we're having such an influx of
Mm.
um like people coming from different countries, and sometimes it's not that they don't know, it's just the language is a barrier. So um there's been some talks about trying to make GCSEs accessible, but then again, we're in the UK, so we don't know. But yeah, both qualifications are valuable, but the choice between them often depends on the student's location and future educational plans. Benefits of excellent scores in your GCSE,
So
further
I think
education.
we're rounding up on this, right?
Yes,
Because of yeah, okay.
yes, please. We're almost done.
Mm.
Um, Further education opportunities. So having the opportunity to go to a very good sixth form college, university admission, career prospects, are very high. Foundation for skills, confidence and motivation. You'll have subject specialization because you've been learning a particular subject for 2 years, and you're very good and knowledgeable within that. And even scholarship opportunities, which will come as well. Reasons why students fail in the GCSEs: insufficient preparation, exam anxiety, poor time management, limited support, learning difficulties, health issues, lack of interest or motivation, inadequate resources, disruptive environments, changing schools or curriculum. So all these things can affect a student's GCSE. So around the time of their GCSEs, it's very important that they have that stability, they have that support, they have that help, which we at TechLearn can provide as well. Strategies for success are developing a study plan, using effective study techniques, staying organized, seeking help when needed, taking care of your health, mental health, physical health, all of it, spiritual health, practicing exam techniques, staying positive and managing stress, and reviewing and revising regularly. Can my child apply to a grammar school after their GCSEs? Yes. Some grammar schools have places for A levels, so that's also an option in case your child doesn't get into the grammar school when they are about to go to high school. So that's also another option, although you may have to do an entrance exam. You might even have to go for an interview, and it also depends on the availability of the places, and the school may have a certain requirement for your A levels. Maybe they'll want you to get 99999, the highest of the highest of the highest. So yeah, one of my brothers ended up going to a grammar school for their sixth form. So it's very, very possible. And the school he went to, the secondary school he went to, was one of the worst ones in Manchester. When the interviewers saw him and they saw the school that he came from, they were like, "You went to this school and you came out with these grades?" And that was the end of the interview. So yeah, it does make a difference. Doing really well in your GCSE will make a difference. And at the monthly sessions for parents of GCSE candidates at TechLearn, you can expect the following: updates on curriculum and assessment, study and revision strategies, understanding exam requirements, emotional and wellbeing support, parental involvement, progress monitoring, Q&A sessions, and future pathways. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, Afua, thank you very much. Right, I think I'll take the questions that they have. Then let me take. Okay, I'll reclaim the host. Right. So thank you. Let me just run through these questions so that. So we'll be having Lauren on Monday. Um, so the webinar continues on Monday, but like I said, registration closes next week Saturday. That's March 15, and classes starts next week Monday. Classes are Mondays to Thursdays, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. if you are doing the 11 plus, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. for GCSE and for SAT. The program is a 10-month program from March till the end of the year. If you are doing the 11 plus, it's £325 one-time payment. If you are doing the SAT, it's £285 one-time payment. If you are doing the GCSE, it's £285 one-time payment. The instrumental payment plan will also be shared on the group, right? But the instrumental payment plan is just two, right? So at the moment we don't do one-on-one, right? But our classes don't exceed 5 students per class. So we don't have more than 5 students per class, which is still more or less like a one-on-one, really. So in any class, GCSE, SAT, 11 plus, we just have 5 students in a class, right? So that is that. So then there's a question, is there a minimum week? Well, we always encourage students to attend. The students are the one doing the training, and it's 1 hour per day. So we just expect them. And so far, I would say all our students attend classes. If they miss classes, maybe once in a while, right? But they always attend classes. Like that, I know because I get reports every day about class attendance. So it's a one-time payment or a two-time payment, right? So the breakdown will be shared on the group, right? Right. So we don't do one-on-one classes, right? Right. So Douglas is saying, is it £325 for the whole 7 months? It's actually for 10 months. I know it is a ridiculously cheap amount, right? But we are just focused on helping people to achieve the right result. So the £325 is for 10 months, 7 months for the 11 plus, then the remaining 3 months, they are preparing them for year 7 because learning never ends. At least it doesn't end at TechLearn. So in TechLearn, learning just continues, right? There are no network issues, don't worry about that. So the tutors are both from Nigeria and outside of Nigeria. So we have a mix of the tutors, Nigeria, then outside of Nigeria. So, but network has never been an issue, right? So, then this person is anonymous. I don't know why people are always anonymous, but not a problem. Right. Right. Okay. So, this question. Yeah, sure. It's possible. You can do an in-year transfer. So Lauren handles this question that you're saying. She consults for this at the career coaching sessions. There are always alternative ways, right? So if you attend the career coaching sessions, it will always tell you how you can navigate. Life is not a one-way traffic, right? So, right. I think, can you shed more light on this? I think we'll talk more about that later because of our time. So for the GCSE, for now, the courses we offer is maths, English, then the sciences, that's physics, chemistry, and biology. So, and that is based on the request of the students that we have. So we always have requests for maths, English, physics, chemistry, and biology. So that is what we offer for now. If your child is in year 4, register that child for 11 plus. This is the time, right? Don't wait till they get to year 5. Let them get in right now. So they will be grouped in the year 4 class. I will start to prepare them for the exam, right? So this is the best time to start. So if you're writing the GCSE, it is £285 for the program. And so it's a 10 months program. They do 4 months of GCSE prep. Then the remaining 6 months, they do the year 7, right? So yeah, classes are on Zoom. They are interactive classes on Zoom. So if you have further questions, you can drop your questions on the WhatsApp group, right? If you have further questions, you can drop it on the WhatsApp group. Then you can also send a chat to, let me give you two numbers, to any of these numbers. So WhatsApp, any of these numbers will go. Just WhatsApp this line. I need to get this line again. So WhatsApp. So the brochure has been shared on the group. Let's WhatsApp this. Okay, 3. Or you can also WhatsApp. Right. So if your question has not been answered, because we need to wrap this up right now. So if your question has not been answered, just WhatsApp any of these numbers and your questions will be answered. Right. Your questions will be answered. Oh, mock exams. We do mock exams every month. Mock exams every month for all our classes. Then someone said, my choice is, so how many months preparation would that be? So it will be 7 months preparation for 11 plus. Then after the 11 plus in September, they will still continue classes, preparing them for year 6, right? So 7, because they are still going to go to year 6. So we prepare them for 7 months for 11 plus. Then from October, November, December, we start to prepare them for year 7. For year 6, since they're in year 5. So just understand that no matter the program you're registering for, your child is having 10 months of classes, right? 10 months of classes, right? Yeah. And there's a diagnosis test. Yes, they start with a diagnosis test on Friday and on Saturday. So that's like to assess them. So as your child is coming in, they are starting with a diagnosis test, Fridays and Saturdays. So that's how it works, right? So hoping to see you all in the program. Don't forget, on Monday, we'll be having a session with Laurent to also dig deep into this, and you can come with your questions, right? But registration is next week, Saturday, and classes starts up on Monday. That is March 17th, right? So bring your child and let's help your child to excel. Let's help your child to excel. So if you have any question, you can drop a chat on the group, or you can send your message you can WhatsApp any of these numbers, and your messages will be responded to. So it's been a wonderful time tonight. Thank you, Laurent. Thank you, everybody that showed up to tonight's class. The brochure will be shared on the group, right? If you have other questions that has not been answered, just reach out to me, right? Reach out. So bye for now. Bye. See you again on Monday, right? And bring more of your questions, then we'll take it up from there. Bye for now.